Jack Tymann has had a 37-year career at Westinghouse/CBS and retired as the corporation's president of the international division. Since then, he has been the president of Homeland Security Partners.
I lived in Tehran in the 1970s, traveled back and forth to Iran, and then moved my family, 4 very young kids, into Tehran in 1977. We lived there 77, 78. We lived before and then during the Iranian Revolution. And it was there that I first came to understand terrorism and extremism. The first thing you have to do with anything going on is understand the problem or threat you're dealing with. In the United States, we don't understand the problem or threat we're dealing with at all. And I'm very, very concerned with what's going on and with my understanding of what's going on. I'm very concerned about partisan politics and the war within the United States, because that's ultimately the only thing that can defeat us.
What I want to see is a discourse on this. So maybe I go a little extreme to try and wake people up. I think it's totally wrong. I'm not talking about Iraq or military going in. It's totally wrong not to have a discourse on this. Just as it was wrong, the analogy I'm drawing on 1938, it was wrong for the world not to talk about the dangers of fascism. And look what happened.
When you have the politics of fear in the mix, you know, it keeps people too terrified to really sit down and to talk about things. It makes people too afraid to look at rational solutions because, you know, there's always this this fear in their head that around the next corner someone's going to blow me up. So they tend to look towards those extreme solutions. They tend to tune out the moderate voices because the moderate voices are always there.
I hate the word moderate Muslim. I use it because people use it, but everybody thinks they're moderate. I think I'm moderate. You think you're moderate. In a sense, we all think.
Right.
We don't think we think ourselves not as extremists, therefore we must be moderate. So the word is real modernization and integration and accepting some basic tenets of the 21st century that really are not Christian or Jewish or Muslim. The problem with freedom is you can't, in a binary fashion, grant it. You can't move from a benevolent dictator or oppression. And that's what's happening in Iraq. How do you then transform? We've been 230 years trying to get it right, and I think sometimes we're further than we were back in the days of our own revolution.
And that's the thing, you know, it's not, we have to get it, like you said, we have to get it out of our head that there's a solution in a year or 2 years. We have to understand that it's a gradual process. You know, there are definite starting points from where we're at now. If we treated the rest of the world like we treat ourselves, like the Americans treat each other, we would have no problems. You know, but we have two different standards. We have a standard for how Americans are treated and what's American justice and what we consider to be justice around the world.
I agree with that completely, yeah.
You know, and if we can firmly commit ourselves to the principles.
That's just, you know, the answers are always simplistic. That's a very simplistic, beautiful, you know, they say elegance and simplicity. We can just treat others like we treat ourselves, which is a Christian virtue as well as a Muslim or anybody. It'll be fine.